Okay. I definitely would love to see what happens. So the thing about this is that this is definitely a little bit weird, but definitely not in the realm of just, like things to actually kind of, make happen. Greninja is very fast and very just kind of, like all over the place, but a lot of the times you'll see Greninja players just very smartly putting out specific hitboxes that just actually work. And it's like, coming into this matchup with Delta Force, Link kind of just wants to keep you out. So like already we're seeing that, Odyssey is just trying to invade Delta Force's space, just doing such a good job at just making sure that they're not getting hit by anything that, Delta Force has to offer.
Yeah, and despite his Nair and despite a few quick options that Link does have, a lot of his setup games comes from his projectiles, and you see it takes a little bit of a time for Link to pull out the boomerang, for him to pull out those arrows or the bombs. So with a character like Greninja who excels in the ground game and even the aerial game, that can be so good as to applying so much pressure into a character like Link, and you see it's really just being applied right now as you're not really seeing too much being done in Delta Force's end because Odyssey is just on top of him every single time, and beautiful way, but not going to get the forward smash to seal that stock at 85%.
Very nice coming in from both of these players. I just really enjoy the way that, Odyssey has just been kind of like just doing, text-based Greninja stuff, but also kind of just throwing their own information into it, just like kind of throwing their own, Odyssey type flavor to this type of matchup that you see here.
Yeah, definitely when you play any character, you don't want to be like the rest. You always want to just be a little bit more different, just catch your opponent off guard. Just, yeah, your opponent is definitely expecting your character to do what your character does best, but when you start mixing up a lot more and when you start being a little bit more patient or a little bit more cautious with your mix-ups, you'll definitely start seeing that a lot of things will start paying off as that forward smash is enough to seal the stock and give Odyssey the stock lead. But at 80%, we could definitely be. It's still a pretty close game to start off, but the strings are coming out 28 and then some being tagged on in the second stock.
I definitely kind of love the way that, already it only took one instance of a neutral situation for Odyssey to just make it so hard for Delta Force to actually hit them, and they immediately just took whatever Delta Force just kind of was just like, okay, I need to hit them, I need to kill them, and then they already took 74% for not even doing too much and gonna F smash them for their troubles, slapping them in percent just entirely.
Yeah. Right now, you see Delta Force really struggling to get this first stock, and Odyssey just handling it to him every single time. Has him in a bad predicament at the ledge once again. But what is the option? Oh, just hanging on there. Just maintaining center stage and keeping stage control is Odyssey. Just not allowing Delta Force whatsoever to get these setups the way he wants him to. Not even the bomb has been coming in clutch for Delta Force, and that is such a key factor as the down tilt into fair will seal the stock to extend what is already a pretty big lead for Odyssey.
Ooh, we're gonna take that first stock from Odyssey with up tilt. Delta Force, I mean, this is looking a little bit hard of a situation right there, and definitely good on Odyssey's part from actually kind of, recognizing a lot of, Delta Force's options, out of disadvantage and whatnot, because they definitely look like they've been having a hard time just trying to, land, and not even just land, figure out what option is best for them to choose in order to actually kind of, throw Adi for a loop.
Yeah, and I love the patience being displayed from Odyssey. He realizes he has the lead. There's not really much reason for him to approach. He's just giving Delta Force enough space, but not too much to have enough to start setting up. As the bombs are finally being displayed, Delta Force with the option to seal the stock, but no, just barely escaping death is Odyssey. We're still sitting at 87% and then some being already tacked on. This could be a stock being taken away very soon, Jazzy.
I mean, it's looking extremely scary for Odyssey right here. I mean, almost keeping Odyssey at the ledge. Delta 4 was having a very nice time ledge trapping Odyssey there. Not going to get too much off of it, but already just trying to, kind of keep it back to a neutral mid-distance type of space and just trying to, take this next stock, because this stock is what they need in order to kind of put them in, into an even game. And I saw that little cheeky, shadow sneak right there.
Yeah.
Odyssey wants to take the stock with that shadow sneak, or at least put themselves into a better position they already have right now. I mean, they've been doing extremely well with just keeping, you know, their spacing going with Greninja, and it's been looking so clean this entire game, like from just what we've seen alone. And gonna miss that tag and gonna get that down air. Wow! Oh my god, I honestly love that down air. That was kind of just like really well placed because they saw, you know, Odyssey was kind of being a little bit antsy right there because they didn't miss the tech, and then it just doesn't matter anymore because they get the F smash and that's gone. That's out of there. I don't know. That's the 3 strikes. You're out. You're done. I don't know.
that was really juicy right there from Delta Force, as you mentioned. You know, that there was a pretty good way to steal the stock, and you know, it really goes to show you, you know, when you start mixing up your options a lot more, and when you start realizing what your opponent is going for in terms of just trying to get back on stage or just being off stage, you know, it really does help you for the next game or even game 3 if we are to go to that case. Yeah, good stuff to both these players. It just seems like Odyssey had a tremendous lead to start off the game, and he didn't let that phase him too much. Delta Force did show signs of life, but it seemed a little bit too late. But that is why we are here in game 2. Delta Force has a chance to bring this back in his favor. We are in Town and City, so a lot more real estate to work around, a lot more ground for Delta Force to get a little bit more setups going in his favor.
And honestly, I definitely do love this choice as well. You know, Delta Force looked like they were definitely struggling to just kind of find their footing. And, you know, being that PS2 is just a very neutral stage with not as many platforms, we're on Town and City right now. I think it's a little much more bigger of a stage, and it has 3 platforms at a time, 2 platforms at the side to even just help, you know, Delta Force kind of regain a sense of, you know, empowerment when they are down or whenever they're off stage. And honestly, it's just not letting them have any fun.
Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind is a lot of Greninja setups, as that forward smash is just enough to seal the stock. A very very weird option right there from Delta Force to do what he did there, to just get set up like that. But what I want to mention is with the high ceiling Blast Zone, you know, that takes away a lot of Greninja setups because he's gonna have to work a little bit more hard to get those kills. You see a lot of those dash attacks and or down tilts set up for a lot of kills from the ceiling. And with Town and City being a high ceiling stage, we won't be seeing early kills as often. And with Town and City also being a stage with the smallest blast zones, we could be seeing Link kill a lot more earlier as well.
Absolutely, and I definitely love that, you know, Odyssey has been not really going for too many tech chases and whatnot, like, because that's mostly a Greninja kind of staple thing, but they have really shown their proficiency of not really needing stuff like that, not really needing to force you know, Delta Force to be in a tech situation, because a lot of their damage comes from, you know, Delta Force's disadvantage. A lot of their disadvantage situations have been from just them trying to land and not even being able to get off of the ground, or get onto the ground, sorry. And it's just been really, you know, a kind of show of how well, you know, Odyssey is kind of just taking this matchup right here.
Yep. And Odyssey is really looking really good in this game too. Just he's still hanging on to those 3 stocks as he is almost looking like game 1. But that dare, as long as it lingers, it's still gonna kill at that percent because yeah, you're at 148 and Greninja's not too heavy. So we did see the stock being taken finally in Delta Force's side, but still a lot of room to work around, and still a 112% tacked on, going for a counter. So I respect the play because you saw Delta Force has been landing a lot with Dare. So if he were to connect that, that was definitely going to seal the stock on Delta Force's end. So good stuff right there from Odyssey. Just not allowing much real estate to go in favor of Delta Force. But as I say that, with just enough rage, not max rage, but just enough rage, is going to seal that stock and give Delta Force a pretty good lead.
Absolutely, and just going to take that stock right back. Odyssey has been playing like very patiently, but I definitely love, you know, the attempt that Delta Force made to actually kind of take some precedence and just kind of making it so hard. And we're already seeing an offstage type of situation. Not going to do anything off of it yet, but like the only thing I'd like to kind of just point out is that, you know, when it comes to just a lot of landing type situations that I'd also like to mention is that, like, when you're landing, you also have to take into account what your opponent has to land. And the thing that I always like to mention when it comes to a lot of these CQC situations when people are landing is that you have to keep in mind what your opponent likes to do and what your character likes to do. And it's just such a difference in how you actually go about making a lot of kill options. You know, we that's where we saw, you know, Odyssey wants to go for that counter. but I also feel like very nice tech right there too. Odyssey could have even gone for an F smash and just a really hard punish, and already this is honestly going for a lot more down airs we see from Odyssey, just really taking note of Delta Force and just kind of trying to just get around him more of a different way than we've been seeing from that first game here.
Yeah, Odyssey is just not phased whatsoever, as the down tilt into up smash is enough to seal the stock and end the run toward Delta Force. Good stuff, good match. I mean, it was almost anyone's game, but obviously only one player can walk away with this one. Odyssey just running away with it. A beautiful way to end the set. Good stuff. We will be seeing Odyssey versus Vivi, a battle of two New Yorkers. So that'll be fun to watch. But before we do that, we got to get ready for Unknown versus Syrah.